Hello, my name is Alan Pope and welcome to this screencast detailing how to install Adobe Flash Player 7 and the beta release of version 9 on Ubuntu Linux. As usual, the first thing we do is log on to our Ubuntu installation, which is an install of Ubuntu 6.10, otherwise known as EGF. This is a basic installation that's had no extra software or packages installed. Out of the box, you can't play Flash content because the Flash player is not installed. We can show that if I go to Firefox and visit a particular website that has Flash content. We'll see that the content doesn't appear. There's a handy page on Adobe's website, adobe.com/products/flash/about, and this page has some Flash content. And when it loads, you'll see along the top of the screen it says additional plugins are required to play the media on this page. And then you can see some Flash content should appear here, and some Flash content should appear here, but it won't because we don't have the plugin yet. So we'll close Firefox and we'll go to the System menu, choose Administration, and then choose Synaptic Package Manager. Remember, this is a basic install of Ubuntu, no additional software installed. There's a search function in the Synaptic Package Manager, so we'll click the search button and then we'll type the name of the software that we're looking for, which is Flash. Of course, I could scroll through the list, but it's quicker to just type it in. I press search, and oh dear, Flash is not listed. Various packages are, but Flash isn't one of them. Now the reason for this is Flash is part of a repository which is not by default supplied in Ubuntu or switched on by default in Ubuntu. If we go to System, Administration, Software Sources, this is where we can define which repositories we want to use. You can see here this one, software restricted by copyright or legal issues, otherwise known as Multiverse or the Multiverse repository, is switched off. If we switch that on and close the Software Sources window, it says the information is out of date. What this means is my local machine doesn't know what's in the Multiverse repository, so it needs to go and load that information from the internet. So now it's downloading information about what's inside the Multiverse repository, and I happen to know that the Flash player is in the Multiverse repository. So now that's done, we'll go back to Synaptic Package Manager under System Administration, and again we'll use the search button. We'll type in Flash and then hit the search button. And this time you can see here some extra packages that weren't here previously. These only appear because we've enabled the Multiverse repository. And if I click on this one, there's a short description down the bottom, and that looks like what we're after. Now this little icon here, if I click this, I can choose to mark for installation. That means I want to install this product. And a dialog box comes up telling me there are additional things that are required. These are dependencies. Synaptic Package Manager figures out what the dependencies are and will tell us what needs to be installed. So we'll mark that as needing to be installed as well. We now have a little icon here that says that the Flash plugin non-free package needs to be installed. So we hit apply and we get a summary of what it plans to do. It plans to install these two packages. So there's two packages to install. It tells you how much space it'll take up. And actually, I've cheated slightly because I already downloaded these. So I hit apply, and away it goes installing the software. Now this dialog box you're seeing coming up here is part of the Flash plugin non-free package. It's asking us a question: do we accept the license agreement for Flash Player? I'm just going to tick the box and hit forward. You might want to read that. If we click the details switch, we can see what it's doing while it's doing the installation. You can see it's actually downloading. So far we haven't actually downloaded the Flash player. We've downloaded a package that then downloads the Flash player. And that's what it's doing right now. It's gone off to the internet to download the Flash player. It's finished. So now the Flash player plugin is installed. We can close this window. And we can close Synaptic Package Manager as well. Now we need to test that installation. Well, we've already got a website we know that has Flash content. So if we open up Firefox, and in our bookmarks we go back to the adobe.com/products/flash/about, and as if by magic, it no longer complains that there's a plugin missing, and the Flash content appears on the page. And down here it even tells us what version of the Flash plugin we're using. Now at this point you could close your browser and finish, but we're now going to have a go at installing the beta release of Flash plugin version 9. Now it's not packaged in Ubuntu, so we have to go and get it via a different means, and we get it from the Adobe Labs. So we're going to download it directly from Adobe's website. That's labs.adobe.com/technologies/FlashPlayer9. There's lots of text here about the Flash Player 9, and there's a link here where we can actually download it. So we click the link, and there's more text. I strongly recommend you read this because it's your computer you're installing it on. And then down here we've got download the installer for Linux. Click this link, and Firefox attempts to download the file. Now I've already downloaded the file, so I'm not going to do this. So what I'll do is close this, and what you would get is, if you did download it, you'd get an icon that appears on the desktop over here. Now for tidiness, I've already moved it off the desktop into my home folder. So if we go to my home folder, you should find, there it is, that is the package that we've downloaded from Adobe. Now you'll notice it's a .tar.gz, so it's a compressed archive, a bit like a zip file. If I double click it, it opens up with this archive manager, and we can see that the archive contains a directory, a folder. And if we double click the folder, we're now looking at the files within the folder that are inside the compressed archive. And there's a README, so let's read the README. When you double click the README, it opens in a text editor. We'll maximize it up to make it easy to read. Now, I should draw your attention to this. Flash Player 9 is in beta. It's not totally stable. It's pretty good quality, but it's up to you if you install Flash Player 9. Some websites require it. Down here we've got the installation instructions. There's two ways to install this. You can either install the plugin as root, which means it's available to anyone who's using this computer, no matter what username they log in under, but we're not going to do that. We're going to install the plugin as a user by copying the file to this directory. Now this little tilde here means your home directory, so we're looking for Mozilla plugins in the home directory, and it says create that directory if it doesn't already exist. So that's the file we need to put in .mozilla/plugins. Now you can't see it right now because any folder that starts with a dot is hidden. So if we use this menu item here, view, show hidden files, you can now see a load more directories appear, including this one, .mozilla. You can see probably just make out the dot in front of it, which makes it hidden. If we now go to view and turn off show hidden files, they all disappear again. They're still there, you just can't see them. So let's show hidden files and dive into the Mozilla directory. And we need a plugins folder. So I right click, hit create folder, and type in plugins. This will create a folder within .mozilla within my home directory. All I then need to do is drag this file into plugins. That's it. Let's just double click to make sure it's there, and there it is. So we've now got version 9 of the Flash Player in the plugins directory beneath .mozilla within my home directory. Let's go back to our Adobe test page and see if it's installed correctly. Looking good. You now have version 9 installed. Now, as I said, this is a beta version. It might be a little bit unstable for you. So what you might want to do is remove it and go back to version 7. Well, we have version 7 still installed. So let's remove version 9 by going to my home folder. Again, going to the view menu, choosing show hidden files. Dive into .mozilla folder. Dive into the plugins directory. And we'll just get rid of this file by right-clicking it and choosing move to trash. There we go, it's gone. I don't have to remove the plugins folder, just that file. Let's open Firefox again. And we should be back to version 7. Yes, you now have version 7. So that's it. We can now install Flash Player 7 and Flash Player 9 beta on Ubuntu. We'll now log out Thank you very much for watching. You can visit our homepage at ubuntuuk.org, or if you have any questions, feel free to email me, alan@popey.com.